they started doing events. They have I have to tell you about this event that they do. You remember Three's Company? You remember Mrs. Roper?
Right.
Mrs. Roper always had on the caftan, right? And the wig. When I go into a town, I show them examples of events that I've done in other places just to give them some inspiration. They came up with the coolest idea. They have an event called Mrs. Roper's Wine and Wander, and they have a horse-drawn cart that takes them from establishment to establishment. They all dress up in their Mrs. Roper attire and their wigs, and it's hilarious. And they go from place to place, and they have, they might have wine here, and they'll shop here, and it's just so cool. And that has grown, and they're having so many people participate in that. And it's also a way for them to make money because people are buying, sort of the tickets, the passports, if you will, to attend that. I love that. It's just creativity. It's capitalizing on your assets that you have right here at home, and just the community coming together and forming this little family. Now, there's always, that happens in a lot of places, but there's always conflicts that arise. And I'm sure that there's been little things in Burton that I haven't seen or no one's told me about, but it's been sort of remarkable that they haven't fallen apart in the last couple of, years, because they don't have any support. They don't have any funding. That's what I mean. Not that they don't have support, but they don't have any financial support from their town.
Right. Well, I think that, and we talk about conflict, okay, anytime you deal with people, there's going to be some conflict, and you have power struggles. If it's a HOA board or whoever, okay, there's always a little bit of power struggles that go on. And I think, but if cooler heads will prevail, and I found a lot of times if it's something like this, if you get a group of people that are not selfish, are not just concerned about just their self, but begin to really grasp the bigger picture and want to do something for that community, then everything starts to change. Oh,
that's right. And, a lot of it is, I have a community listening session coming up in the town of Brookneal. I'll use them as an example. It's a new town that I'm working with, and I've been there a couple of times. I'm getting the lay of the land and getting to know the people, right? And figuring out those different relationship dynamics. And so one of the first things that I do when I go into a new town is hold a community listening session. And in Brookneal, we're calling it Brookneal Voices and Vision. And all the stakeholders are invited. It's open to the public. And really what we want to do is we want to get a really good idea of the assets from the community's vantage point, not just from the leadership. I want to know what the people see and what their ideas are, right? And we want to see what opportunities we have to improve on, right? Those are so impactful, and I wish that those were incorporated more in bigger projects that impact a community. I see a lot of chatter about this or that, and especially when grant funding is involved, because that's essentially most of the times tax dollars, unless it's a private charitable foundation. So I'm a big believer in community listening sessions and transparency and giving folks the opportunity to voice their opinions and ideas. A lot of times people just don't know where to park that. They've got an idea, they got a vision, but they don't know how to make it happen.
I agree. See, I think that's the challenge we run into, even with a lot of small towns. They're operating on limited resources, a lot of non-paid people in a lot of positions, and they're sitting there just trying to figure out what to do, and then to have the heart to do it is a real challenge. And I believe there's plenty of people out there that do have the heart to do want to change, but I believe they're sort of lost in the mix, and the job can look so big that they don't know where to start.